Today, we are going to talk about expressing fractions with denominators of 10, 100, and 1000 as decimals. We begin by drawing a decimal point. If we're expressing a mixed number as a decimal, write the whole number to the left of the decimal. If we're expressing a fraction as a decimal, place a 0 to the left of the decimal. The number of zeros in the denominator will tell us how many digits are to the right of the decimal. The numerator is placed to the right of the decimal. Let's look at some examples together to better understand this process. Let's begin by expressing 7/10 as a decimal. We always begin by drawing a decimal. Since 7/10 is a fraction and not a mixed number, we place a 0 to the left of the decimal. Now we look at the denominator, 10. Since there's one 0 in 10, there's going to be one place to the right of the decimal. Now we look at the numerator, 7. The 7 is placed to the right of the decimal in the one place available. Therefore, 7/10 is equivalent to 0.7. Let's look at a second example. Let's express 23 hundredths as a decimal. We begin by drawing our decimal. Since 23 hundredths is a fraction and not a mixed number, we're going to place a 0 to the left of the decimal. Let's look at our denominator, 100. Since there are two zeros in 100, there are going to be two places to the right of the decimal. They represent the tenths place and the hundredths place. Now we look at the numerator, 23. Since our numerator has two digits and we have two places to the right of the decimal, we're going to write 23 in the places provided. Therefore, 23 hundredths can be written as 0.23. Let's look at a couple of examples that might be a little more difficult. We begin with 9 hundredths. Let's draw our decimal. Since 9 hundredths is a fraction and not a mixed number, we place a 0 to the left of the decimal. Let's look at our denominator, 100. Since 100 has two zeros, we're going to have two places to the right of our decimal. Those places represent the tenths place and the hundredths place. Now we look at our numerator, 9. Since 9 is only a single digit and we have two places to the right of the decimal, we need to add a 0 before the 9 to fill one of those places. So therefore, 9 hundredths is equivalent to 0.09. A second example that may be a little challenging would be 37 thousandths. We begin by drawing our decimal. Since 37 thousandths is a fraction and not a mixed number, we're going to place a 0 to the left of the decimal. Let's look at our denominator, 1000. Since 1000 has three zeros, we're going to have three digits to the right of the decimal. Those three places represent the tenths, hundredths, and thousandths place. We look at our numerator, 37. In this example, 37 has 2 digits, but there are 3 places to the right of the decimal. Therefore, we need to fill the first place with a 0. Then we can write the 37. 37 thousandths is equal to 0.037. An even more challenging example would be 4 thousandths. We begin by drawing a decimal. Since 4 thousandths is a fraction and not a mixed number, we're going to place a 0 to the left of the decimal. As we look at the denominator, 1,000, we notice that there are 3 zeros, which means there are going to be 3 digits to the right of the decimal. The 3 spaces represent the tenths, hundredths, and thousandths place. As we look at the numerator, 4, we notice that 4 is only a single digit, but we have 3 places to fill. Therefore, the first 2 places are going to be filled with zeros, and the final place, the thousandths place, is where we place the 4. So 4 thousandths is equal to 0.004. Let's look at a mixed number. 3 and 9 tenths. Once again, we begin by drawing our decimal. In this particular example, since 3 and 9 tenths is a mixed number, we're going to take that whole number and place it to the left of the decimal. Once we do that, we can look at our denominator, 10. Since 10 only has 1 0, there will be 1 digit to the right of the decimal. This digit will be in the tenths place. Now we look at our numerator, the 9. 9 is a single digit, and we have 1 place to the right of the decimal. Therefore, 3 and 9 tenths is equal to 3.9. Let's express 7 and 19 hundredths as a decimal. We begin by drawing our decimal. Since 7 and 19 hundredths is a mixed number, we're going to take our whole number, the 7, and place it to the left of the decimal. Following this, we'll look at our denominator, 100. Since 100 has 2 zeros, we're going to have 2 digits to the right of the decimal. Those digits will be in the tenths and hundredths place. Let's look at our numerator, 19. Since 19 has 2 digits, and we have 2 places to the right of the decimal, we can write 19 in those places. Therefore, 7 and 19 hundredths is equivalent to 7.19. Finally, let's express 4 and 53 thousandths as a decimal. We begin by drawing our decimal. Since 4 and 53 thousandths is a mixed number, we're going to take the whole number, the 4, and place it to the left of the decimal. As we look at the denominator, 1,000, we notice there are 3 zeros, which means we're going to have 3 digits to the right of the decimal, 1 in the tenths place, 1 in the hundredths place, and 1 in the thousandths place. As we look at our numerator, 53, we notice there are only 2 digits in 53, but we have 3 places to the right of the decimal. So we have to add a 0 before the 53 to hold that place. 4 and 53 thousandths is equal to 4.053.